president today announced a 100% tariff on all films made outside of the US.
I'm trying to process what could this mean to the industry and whether it's good or bad. I think it will be good for some, bad for some. That's my guess. So, first of all, it's not the first time that our industry heard that there's gonna be something like that. And the war talks about forbidding films that were filmed outside of the USA. There were a lot of mentions of it, but nothing was officially official and not as big as this. On one hand, that means that there will be less foreign films coming to the USA. That will mean that for the normal people in the USA, or in general, it means that there will be mainly USA productions. And I don't know what would it feel to the audience in the USA, and how much, if you're from the USA, I'm intrigued to hear how many foreign films do you watch. The thing is that it's not just foreign films, and why? The moment that a film from the USA is filming outside of the USA as well, it's automatically considered not 100% an American production, even if the production team is from the USA. The reason that many times USA productions are doing that is because, one, many times it's cheaper to film in Europe. And even if you bring your whole crew to some locations in Europe or some locations in Asia, it turns out cheaper than filming in the USA. Because of union laws, because of distribution laws, because of tax relief options that different countries have if you come and you film there. Many different reasons why many productions are doing that. And the main thing is also distribution. The moment that it's filmed, for example, in Europe, then it's cheaper and easier to distribute it around Europe rather than if it's just American production, USA production, which is also kind of part of tax. But 100% tax? What? That's really bad. That's really bad. That's a lot. That will be very unmanageable for a lot of buyers. On the other hand, I don't know if you know, I don't know how many of you are, how much are you involved in the industry, but the industry in Hollywood, there's a talk about how much the industry in Hollywood is suffering. It started with the corona hitting Hollywood, and obviously people couldn't film during that time, at least the start of the time. And after that, there was the script writers protest, which followed with SAG-AFTRA, the actors joining them, and some directors, I think, as well joined the protest, which means that nothing came out of Hollywood that period of time. At some point, there was an agreement. I think first A24 reached an agreement with them, and then they started releasing some things. But people seen less productions, less auditions, and many went fighting for the rights of actors and the rights of writers and the rights of the industry against AI and how producers and production teams are using it and using less of us. But then on top of it, there were the fires at LA. So it was a hit after a hit after a hit after a hit, and Hollywood is definitely suffering. Many of the films were moved, if they are filmed in the USA. As much as I know, many of the productions moved to Atlanta. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the last thing that I know, because I hardly act in the USA. But I am familiar of what's going on in the industry there, because obviously it affects actors everywhere. It affects actors in the UK, it affects actors in Canada, and those are things that I need to know. And obviously it affects film releases and film sales and which things come in where. So by doing that, in a way, it means that now USA productions might be forced to film in the USA. Does it mean they're gonna start bringing foreign actors? Like, if with that tax, it might be cheaper to bring foreign actors to the USA. There might need to be some ways to see how they still film in the USA, but in cheaper location or in cheaper ways, and how much would the big productions be affected by it more than the indie productions? Because the indie productions, let's be honest, like, they stay in the USA either way. They film in the USA, they either way don't have a budget, so there's nothing like changes in that regards. But for the big productions and for obviously as actors, it would affect our auditions, because it means also for actors in the UK, for example, as a resident in the UK and someone that worked in the industry in the UK. In the UK, a lot of Hollywood films are coming to film, and obviously it provides a lot of us work. And now, if the government of the USA is gonna tax that so much, so high, I don't know if productions will be able to handle it, and would it still be cheaper for them to film in the UK or in Europe or whatever, and that would affect how many parts are there in the industry. Yeah, these are my thoughts at the top of my head. Just obviously, I'm not a predictor. I'm not a politician. I'm not. This is out of my knowledge from distributions, from producing, and from the filming industry. But I would love to hear your thoughts and from your knowledge, what do you think? Yeah, I don't know, predictions. This is big. This is big. Yeah. I said in the past, I'm curious about what's going on with this, how it's going. When you first said about the tax, I said I'm curious about it. So now, definitely. Okay, let me hear your thoughts. Seriously, is it stitch with me, or let me know in the comments, because I would love to hear what you guys think about this.